What people are not mentioning very often either is the fact that Cassie, clearly, we all saw it, got her ass beat in that hallway. But not too many people are talking about the fact that minutes later, she went to that hotel room and she apologized. She apologized to that man for trying to run away. What's up? It's Defia and I'm back with another video. I did my first ever commentary video on Diddy's apology, which was not that. Since then, I've seen a lot of other people comment on it, and it seems to be the general consensus that he did not apologize to anyone for anything. So why we're still calling it an apology is beyond me. But I do want to ask one thing before we get into this topic, because I do want to continue on the same subject, if you will, because Cassie did come out and speak, and there were other things that I came across and I thought about after the fact. So I just need you to subscribe real quick right there and like this video for like algorithmic purposes and whatnot, and I would greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry I ain't get real cute for you. Maybe one day I will, but that's not really my MO. I'm here to just talk, have conversations with you guys in the comments, and just share my opinion and also share my psychological knowledge on certain subjects that I am familiar with, and narcissism happens to be one that I'm very privy to. And I did a whole podcast on it. I actually did two, but the first episode I did for my podcast, the third podcast, was very surface level. I didn't go into pretty much anything. You could tell I was kind of phoning it in, and that was a couple years ago. So I redid a real episode on narcissism last year. And that is clearly what Diddy is, I can't even say suffering from, because though they do say that narcissists suffer internally, because they call it a personality disorder. So my whole thing when I did my podcast was I really don't understand why they don't call it a mental disorder, because it really is quite mental. But I did some more research, and I kind of thought about it and went over things. And I think the main thing is that with mental disorders, there's some sort of science behind it, as far as like a chemical imbalance, and things of that nature. And with narcissism, it's nothing. It's usually, they say, they always have the argument, nature versus nurture. All of the time, really, that from what I've read, narcissism is nurture. So you're not born, nobody is born a narcissist. They tend to have bad childhoods, which in turn makes them develop this personality disorder. The lengths to which Diddy is so textbook with it, like, honestly, if I can't diagnose nobody. I have a background in psychology, but I am not licensed. I do not have a doctorate or anything like that. But opinion, he crosses over into borderline what can be or seem to be a sociopath, which I wrote a whole paper on psychopathy as well. Sociopaths have no empathy. Narcissists have little empathy. So you watch a lot of videos, or you hear the term thrown around like narcissists are, the scum of the scum and the bottom of the barrel. Not really. Not really. And I hear, Diddy in his apology mentioned getting therapy. True narcissists, like, diagnose people with narcissistic personality disorder, tend to fail miserably at therapy. It sucks, and it's not 100%. It's not all of them, but most of them do, because the thing about narcissists is that Their coping mechanism, the way they get by in life, is by manipulating people. And they do this because they truly believe that they are better and smarter and can get away with manipulating people. And when it works, it only feeds their ego. And narcissists run on ego, which is why whenever they get criticized, it hits them real deep. And they tend to be very black and white. So you can't tell Diddy, I don't like the way you cooked my pasta last night. Because when you say that to Diddy, what you're saying is, Diddy, you're a fucking piece of shit. You can't even cook a pasta right? That's how he heard it. Because he's a narcissist. So if somebody said that to you in those words, wouldn't you be rather upset when you possibly lash out? That's where narcissists take it. They compare them to toddlers. They have like the emotional intelligence level of a toddler. So they get angry very sporadically. It doesn't take much. They hold grudges forever. Like once a narcissist is upset with you, you just let it go. For the most part, let it go. Now, what I really want to talk about today though is an aspect that I don't think is getting enough light shed on it. And everybody's very with good reason. Let me just preface this. With good reason, people are just beside themselves over the footage that they saw of Diddy beating Cassie. So the emphasis right now generally is on domestic violence, physical abuse. And that bothers me. Let me tell you why. It bothers me because physical abuse, and also another preface, I grew up in a home with domestic violence. So me and my mother did get away from a violent situation when I was younger. So this is something that I know very personally. But I didn't fully comprehend it because I was a child. So then, I grew up, lived life, studied, and things started to come together. So, in the great words of 50 Cent on PIMP, he said, I get in a head before I get in a bed. What is he talking about? He's talking about emotional abuse. There is no domestic violence without emotional abuse first. If you did not emotionally lock in with someone and make them feel that you are their safe place, there's no way you getting away with putting your hands on them and then coming back again and again and again and again. That's mental. What people are not mentioning very often either is the fact that Cassie, clearly, we all saw it, got her ass beat in that hallway. But not too many people are talking about the fact that minutes later, she went to that hotel room and she apologized. She apologized to that man for trying to run away. It's mental. The emotional abuse is the worst part. And some people don't put any sort of emphasis and don't put any sort of value on emotional abuse until it gets to the physical abuse. And it doesn't always get there. But there is no physical abuse without emotional abuse. It's impossible. It is absolutely impossible. Because if you hit somebody that don't give a fuck about you, they're just gonna leave. They're gonna be like, this motherfucker hit me, he crazy. But if they're locked in, it's, but he was so good to me yesterday. Like, he must be having a bad day. He must this, that. Or she. Let me say she too, because it'd be women. Domestic violence towards men from women, another thing that flies under the radar very, very often, and is super sad because men feel like they have to be men and they don't speak up and it's not shared enough. But I'm gonna stick to this topic because we are talking to or about Diddy and Cassie. So when you're locked in like that emotionally, you're thinking, we're just having a bad day. He's gonna be good to me again. He showed me how much he loved me before. Now, on those good days, you're just thankful. You're like, he's not hitting me. She's not hitting me. Like this is what I want. This is why I'm here. This is why I stick around. I'm glad I stuck it out. That's the thought process. It's really, really, really harmful. So what they call that hot and cold dynamic is something called a trauma bond. You're traumatically addicted to this person. They bring you to these highs just to drop you, from 50 stories high. But then they catch you right before you fall. Or sometimes they let you fall, but they put a little band-aid on your broken leg and then they lift you back up. So physically, that actually does harm too. You get physical heart health is impacted heavily when you're in traumatic situations like this. But I don't like the fact that nobody's talking about that. People are only focusing on what they can see. And that also is linked to another thing that had me really bothered, is that I think since before Kat went on Club Shay Shay, I've seen a lot of exposés, documentaries, YouTube clips where people were repeatedly naming Diddy as this villain. And of course we had no proof. But when it's two people, it gets a little suspicious. Then it's three people. Then it's four. Then it's five. Then it's six. Then it's seven. When do we say, hey, maybe we should check on this? And not wait until we have to see a video of a petite, gorgeous woman getting bashed with football punts, or soccer. What sport does that kind of kicking? Is that one? I don't watch sports, okay? But why do we have to, as a people, wait for it to get to that extent before we're interested, before we're involved, before we're intrigued, before we pay it any attention whatsoever? I'm just posing the question. I don't have the answers. So I'm sway right now. I ain't got the answers. I'm only here to talk in open dialogue so that we could discuss it in the comments and maybe in the future avoid situations like this and not wait until it gets so bad and it's so in your face and it's so undeniable. Because a narcissist's best friend, absolute bestie, is plausible deniability. That's their favorite thing. That's one of their favorite weapons. Their most used tactics. Yes, they gaslight and all these words that you hear thrown around. Yes, they breadcrumb. Yes, they neglect and ignore you. Yes, they do this and that. But they don't do anything at all. This is covert narcissism, by the way, that I'm talking about. So these are the people. I think, honestly, I forgot the term for the braggadocious ones, but there's a grandiose. So the grandiose narcissist, I feel Diddy qualifies as that. I don't think he's so covert, but to an extent he is, because he knew he had a public image and he had to keep a certain face. That's why every time he did some nasty shit, he changed his name. You ain't notice how many times that nigga changed his name? Every time he changed his name, it's because something happened. But I didn't realize it until I started doing my research and watching these documentaries. I was like, oh, damn, he did change his name right around that shooting. Oh, he did change his name right around he beat Cassie's ass, because that's when he became Brother Love. That's a fact. That's what happened. That's not my opinion. That is literally the time frame in which he became Brother Love. When he was loving on his girlfriend that much. Everything is a show to this man. Everything is for show. And I just wanted to speak up on the fact that we are, taking note as a people collectively. A lot of people, I heard that there are a few people who are still in his corner, which is shocking, yet not shocking. Because I have my own, personal experiences where I'm like, yo, you saw that. And what I do like about this conversation and this dialogue is that we are putting a little bit more emphasis on that, on the surrounding people, the people who watch the shit go down and don't do anything about it, the people who enable the behaviors that they know are wrong. I love that. I love that for us as a society. I love that for us as women in this specific circumstance. That I really do like, because I feel like that topic was brought up when R. Kelly was having his legal troubles at first, but not really, like, nobody marinated on it. Nobody really sat in that pocket and tried to dissect it any further. It was just like, they all guilty, and then keep it moving. That's pretty much what I heard personally. If you heard something different, absolutely let me know in the comments. I'm gonna be replying to everybody. But yeah, I think those are the main things that kind of upset me, that we're not paying enough attention to. And then I do like that we are paying attention to other certain things, like the people around Diddy as well. As far as, like, when I said I was watching and all these videos and Diddy's name was getting dropped or whatnot, it's not like a comment here or there. There are, I know one specific bodyguard. I think he's his bodyguard, but I don't know his name. But he was doing a few full-length interviews. And then there's a woman by the name of Jaguar Wright who's also doing multiple full-length interviews. Jaguar Wright, I'm going to let you know right now, just in case you want to Google and watch some of her interviews. She goes in on the industry kind of in general, but she's always named Diddy, just like she's always named Jay-Z, Harv Pierre, who's with Diddy. That's just wild. Sorry, I was just thinking about, I met Harv once and he did seem a little creepy, but yeah, who am I to say? That's what I like. I understand people not wanting to point a finger and judge off, one instance or one, not that I saw anything super creepy. I just got a vibe, but I'm a Pisces, so sometimes my vibes be alright. You feel me? But yeah, she's named multiple people. Another one that we laugh at a lot is Orlando Brown. And him, similarly to Jaguar Wright, are very animated, almost theatrical, just energetic, and you almost don't know whether they're telling the truth or if they're putting on a show, trying to be entertaining, just want clout, But I think the things that they say are rooted in truth. I think they may ham it up a little bit for the camera, because Jaguar Wright's, Orlando Brown too, they're both very dramatic. They'll do things like take dramatic pauses so that you feel every single syllable in the words that they say. Like that. So they do a lot of that. Like, I feel like they're hamming it up and they're really, like, just trying to go for it. But I don't think they're liars per se. Orlando Brown, I don't believe as much as Jaguar Wright. I'll be perfectly honest. Jaguar Wright, I believe, because this is not the first thing that she called out before it got exposed. I forgot what the other one was. It might have been R. Kelly. I don't know. But she's definitely been onto something. She's just, like I said, very animated, very theatrical. I don't know if it's intentional because she wants to be entertaining, because she knows that she's on these platforms where it's going to be for an audience and whatnot. I have no idea. But the facts are the facts, and she's stating facts before they're proven as facts. So it's very odd. But the fact that it's so many people not just mentioning Diddy over the years, because, man. Anyway, should I jiggle the mouse? Fuck it. So, not just because they're mentioning him here and there over the years, but the fact that it's over the years is a problem. But then also, he's linked to major conspiracies. I mean, it was in Cassie's lawsuit, her civil suit, that he blew up Kid Cudi's car. Like, that's some movie mafia type stuff. Like, I remember when rappers just used to be like stick up kids. Now they all fucking Tony Montana. It's insane. But he was also named heavily in the murders of both Big and Pac, his own people. Kim Porter, his mother of his children. There's no proof of this. This is not me saying this is what happened, but I'm saying his name has come up consistently in these egregious, wild things, and nobody, by multiple people, multiple times for extended platforms. So these people are not just saying it and walking away like, hey, did he kill Kim? Bye. No, they're going into detail. They're telling stories. They're recollecting memories that they had where certain fights happen and women hiding under cars and, Kim Porter scratching his face and saying, like, explain that to the media if I scratch your face. But very detailed encounters is what I've heard over the years. So I'm not saying it's true. And I personally, I didn't 100% believe it. But it sounded like something to look into. So I'm hoping that this entire situation kind of brings that, I guess, I want to say like a desire to take action a little bit sooner. I'm not saying throw, someone under the jail as soon as a couple people make an accusation or a couple accusations, whatever the case may be. But I'm saying once it becomes a few people with their stories aligning, maybe we look into it a little bit. But you guys let me know how you feel, what you think in the comments, and I will be back with another video. I don't know if we're going to do Diddy again, but I definitely wanted to chime in on this since Cassie did, speak out, and she's getting recognized for being the credible and authentic source that she is, which is beautiful. And another thought that crossed my mind, I know I was about to close out the video, but when you're saying that something happened to you and you were treated a certain way, and there were witnesses too, and nobody believes you, and even the people who saw it turned their back on you, you know how strong you have to be to not turn your back on yourself? We're lucky that Cassie's still here. And that's all I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to end it. So just make sure you subscribe, like the video, and I will be back with more commentary because, I guess I'm really doing it now. I've been wanting to do commentary videos for a while now, but I was like, I'm going to just focus on my music. I'm an artist. I rap, I sing, I songwrite. I only want to songwrite. I don't want to be famous, and that's partially why I have the fucking balls now to say whatever the fuck I want. It's because I don't want to be famous. I don't want to be around none of these monsters. If they like Diddy, I don't want no parts. I'm good. Onesies. Oh, yeah. And remember, I'm the voice you can trust. Onesies.